Hey, welcome to Chapter 8. Here we go. Hopefully the noise there across the hall won't be too much. So in the top left corner here, there's a bunch of veggies. Vegetables is a long word, so people usually say veggies, fruits and veggies. So I say broccoli, bell peppers, tomatoes, bananas, garlic, bean sprouts, apples, carrots, sanchu, lettuce, grapes, orange, cabbage. Yeah. Anyway, and you see the picture of those two school lunches. The bottom one is the American one, full of sugar and processed food and carbohydrates. So if we were in class now, what we'd do is have you make a list of foods in that category on page 97. Like, think of what you ate in the last couple days over the weekend, right? Food that is healthy, and put it in two categories: unhealthy, healthy food. But we're not in class, so we're not going to do that. So we're going to skip right to the reading, okay? On page 97. Here we go. A healthy diet for everyone. Everyone knows that we must eat food in order to live, obviously. However, sometimes people are confused about what type of food is healthy and what kind of food can be harmful to our health. The USDA. So you see down there at the bottom, that's called a footnote, right? Because foot at the bottom, note, footnote. That's a footnote. When you see the little number there, indented, and then that means that explains it further down there. That's a footnote. Okay. USDA has prepared a food guide to help people learn about which types of food are the healthiest to eat. Healthy, healthier, healthiest. The food guide describes 6 basic food groups. This is probably a key point. So there's meat, beef, fish, chicken, etc. That's how you pronounce the etc, etc. Dairy, which is milk, yogurt, cheese, grains, bread, cereal, rice, fruit, and vegetables, fruits and veggies. That's 5. And then the last group is 3 things: fats, oils, sweets. See that? I'm counting like Koreans. I see 2. You see 1, 2, 3. I see 2. So those are the 6 groups, and the USDA also suggests how much of each food group is healthy to eat daily. Obviously, more fruits and vegetables, less meat, right? That's pretty obvious. Everyone knows that's what you should do, but is it really what you do? Meh. Only you can know the answer. Okay, and then the last sentence. Although this guide was prepared by the US government, it is very useful for people all over the world. So the US government, oh wow, it's never wrong. It's the gold standard, right? Nonsense. So the USDA, actually, they tried to make a food pyramid. It is kind of a pyramid. Anyway, years ago, so as you know, the US meat industry, the farmers, it's a huge industry. All the slaughterhouses, the meat production. It's a huge industry. So they were angry because the US government came out with recommendation to eat less meat. And they protested and they lobbied the government, and the government changed this food pyramid thing 30 or 40 years ago to say, oh no, we don't mean you should eat less meat. No, we're not saying that. Although you should, doctors say that, but the USDA, because of all the pressure from the food producers, the meat producers, had to change this. So that's what I hate about things like that. Oh, the US government, they say, oh, the FDA, oh. FDA is very corrupt, right? So anyway, next page, page 98. As a result of years of research, we know that too much animal fat is bad for our health. For example, Americans eat a lot of meat and only a small amount of grains, fruit, and vegetables. Because of their diet, they have a high rate of cancer and heart disease. Also, diabetes from sugar. In Japan, in contrast, showing a difference, right? In contrast, people eat large amounts of grains and very little meat. The Japanese also have a very low rate of cancer and heart disease. In fact, like adding information also, the Japanese lived longer than almost anyone else in the world. And I think the people with the longest lifespans in Japan are in Okinawa in the south because the weather is probably better. So on in line 16, continuing. Unfortunately, when Japanese people move to the United States, the rate of heart disease and cancer increases as their diet changes. Moreover, also, as hamburgers, but many Koreans, hamburger. It's hamburger. You have to speak like you have a hot potato in your mouth. That's what they told me when I first got to New Zealand. They said Americans speak English as if they have a hot potato in their mouth. Oh, I'm John. How are you? Oh. Anyway, hamburger. As hamburgers, ice cream, and other high-fat foods became popular in Japan, the rate of heart disease and cancer is increasing there as well. So it's the Western diet that's fat, all the animal fat that leads to health issues. Next, line 19. People are also eating more meat and dairy products in other countries, such as Cuba. Sounds like the letter Q, not Cuba. Cuba. Mauritius, that's in Africa. And Pegopa, Hungary. Not surprisingly, so no surprise, it's kind of obvious. The disease rate in these countries is increasing along with the change in diet. Consequently, doctors everywhere advise people to eat more grains, fruit, and vegetables and eat less meat and fewer dairy products. All right, continuing on page 20, line 24. A healthy diet is important for children as well as adults. When adults have poor eating habits, their children usually do too. After all, children eat the same way as their parents. When parents eat healthy food, children will learn to enjoy it too. Then they will develop good eating habits. Doctors advise parents to give their children healthier snacks such as fruit, vegetables, and choco pies. Juice. Everyone wants to live a long, healthy life. We know that the food we eat affects us in different ways. For instance, doctors believe that fruit and vegetables can actually prevent many different diseases. On the other hand, kind of contrasting different information, animal fat can cause disease. We can improve our diet now and enjoy many years of healthy living. Dun dun dun. Okay, so next, page 99, part 1. Skim the passage. What's the main idea? So what's the most general statement? Is A, the kind of diet we have can cause or prevent diseases. Noise again. So next, part 2 is what they do in all these chapters. They usually have some kind of visual outline, and then the next page, it's the same. Actually, not here. It's only that. Well, in the next chapter, they'll have this, and then kind of just the written answers. But they always have some kind of visual outline, which is what is on page 99. So you want to fill in the blanks, but I'll do it for you. So for the American diet, so lots of meat and small amounts of 3 things: grains, veggies, and fruit. So one more time. So American diet, lots of meat, small amounts of 3 things: grains, veggies, and fruit. The Japanese diet, very little meat, but lots of grains. And probably veggies too, but that's what the book says. So Japanese diet has very little meat, but lots of grains. And then down the next, the little purple box. So on the left, the effects of diet on health. So cancer and heart disease increase, right? The rates of cancer and heart disease increases with the American diet. And for the Japanese diet, they have lower rates of cancer and heart disease. So increasing rates of heart disease and cancer for American diet, lower rates of cancer and heart disease for the Japanese diet. And then down the last one, the green box, what doctors believe about the food we eat. So basically eat more grains, fruits, and vegetables, and less meat and dairy. So we should eat less meat and eat less dairy, eat more grains and fruits and veggies. But I myself, I'm on a seafood diet. Kind of my whole life I've been on a seafood diet, because when I see food, I eat it. Get it? S-E-E food. Seafood diet. Okay, next, the reading comprehension questions, page 100. So number 1, everyone knows that we must eat food in order to live. So what information follows in order to is the reason, right? So the reason we eat food is to live. And then B, complete sentence. God, it's noisy. Hang on. So sorry. So it says, B says, Cindy went to the supermarket in order to buy some food. So the reason is to buy some food. 2, sometimes people are confused about what type of food is healthy and what kind of food can be harmful for our health. So in these sentences, which word is a synonym for kind? Type, right? What type of food? What kind of food? And then B, what does confused mean? It means, number 1, mixed up, unclear, but number 1, mixed up. And harmful obviously means bad. It hurts you. Number 3, skip. Just talks about the food groups, which are on the next page. So like I said, page 101, C, the information at the bottom of page 97 is called a footnote, right? At the bottom of the page. And then D, this is the important thing. What are the basic food groups? Meat, dairy, grains, fruits, veggies. And then the last category, fats, oils, and sweets. So that's all right there on page 97, lines 5 through 7. All right there in your book. All right, and then E, what does daily mean? Sawan, daily, chajang, kwajang, bujang. No, every day. Daily means every day. 4, Americans eat a lot of meat and only a small amount of grains, fruit, and vegetables. In Japan, in contrast, people eat large amounts of grains and very little meat. The Japanese also have a very low rate of cancer and heart disease. In fact, the Japanese live longer than anyone else in the world. So what information in A follows in contrast? So it's it's an opposite idea. So it's number 2. In B, what information follows in fact? Is it contrasting? Is it surprising? Or is it more? It's more information. So it's number 1. And C, what does anyone else mean? That means all other people. So this is confusing for a lot of people. So basically, if I'm in class, I'm asking or answering questions, and then I'm finished answering, then I say, anyone else? That's everyone. Anyone else means everyone. Like, does anyone else have a question? Well, it's 100%. So it's all other people. All right, number 5. Unfortunately, when Japanese people move to the US, the rate of heart disease and cancer increases as their diet changes. Moreover, as hamburger, ice cream, and other high-fat foods become popular in Japan, the rate of heart disease and cancer increases there too. So next page, A, what follows unfortunately? Something bad, right? And B, what does as mean? In this case, it means when. Where the rate of cancer and heart disease increases when their diet changes, as their diet changes. So it means when, in this case. And C, moreover means also. What are some examples of high-fat foods? Choco pie, cake, etc., etc. And then E, where does there refer to? In this case, they're talking about Japan. And high-fat foods, hamburgers, ice cream, but there's all kinds of examples of high-fat foods. 6, people are also eating more meat and dairy products in other countries such as Cuba, Mauritius, and Hungary. Yeah, it's not Hungary, it's Hungary. Hungary, pick up 2 syllables. Hungary, 3 syllables. Not surprisingly, the disease rate in these countries is increasing along with the change in diet. Consequently, doctors everywhere advise people to eat more grains, fruit, and vegetables, and less meat and fewer dairy products. So A, what does such as mean? It means for example. B, what information follows not surprisingly? So 3, it's not a surprise, so it's easy to believe. And C, what does consequently mean? So as a consequence, as a cause and effect, so it's the result of something. Consequently. 7, a healthy diet is important for children as well as adults. This sentence means that a healthy diet is equally important as well as, right? It's kind of another way to say also, which is what B says. As well as means and also. 8, when adults have poor eating habits, their children usually do too. After all, children eat the same way as their parents. So the first sentence